What's up, everyone? It is Jason Jani. Welcome back to my channel. It is great to have you here. And in this video, I want to share with you 6 tips on things that you could do to become a better MC when DJing parties in the future. And being a DJ and being an MC kind of goes hand in hand. And although some MCs are not DJs and some DJs can't MC, I think having an understanding for these principles will put you in a better position in the future in the event that you have to get on the microphone to make some announcements or to lead an event. And it doesn't matter if you've been doing this for a long time or you're new to the game. I've tried to pull together a couple of tips or schools of thought to help anyone, no matter what type of events that they work at frequently and no matter where they are. So whether you're new or you've been doing this for a long time, I hope you find value in the things I'm about to share with you. Before I get started on sharing this content, I'd love to invite you to drop down below, crush that subscribe button so you support everything that goes on here on this channel. I think if you do that, it's a win for the people that create the content, but also for yourself because you'll be able to stay in the know when future content drips out here in the days, weeks, and months ahead. Now, I want to share with you some examples and some stories and some things that I've observed people doing, some corrections that I've given to even my own team when observing them at events over the past couple of years. These are principles based on real deal things that I've seen real deal people maybe miss the mark on. And whether I was attending an event or I was observing the event, these are things that I think anyone anywhere could either be reminded of as a refresher or could use to put in play to make them even better at what they do, helping making memories for people that trust us with these really super cool celebrations. So I want to share with them. I'm going to kind of rapid fire them out. And the first tip I want to share with you is the importance of having a plan and having it documented and organized in an easy to follow fashion before you arrive on site at that event. Having key items like pronunciations of names or songs organized in a way that are easy to follow, must play songs, do not play songs, songs that are associated with different milestone moments like a special dance or a parent dance or an honored this or a song that's played when they cut the cake or when they walk up to the stage or whatever it is, depending on the type of event that you're doing is really like where it's at. I think it's super critical if you want to become an incredibly good wedding MC or an event MC or party MC to kind of have your stuff together before you arrive on site. I think that's number one. And I think the second part of this actual tip is to share the plan with the other professionals that are on site and working so that they are all in the know and they are aware of what is going on, when it is to go on, and what kind of the purpose of it is. It allows them to kind of get in the best position to do their framework for their job, and it sets everyone up for success. Number 2 is using first names whenever possible and never using the descriptives like bride and groom when recalling things. Although the title bride or groom is relevant in a wedding situation, I think it's better if you're able to call that couple by their first names. You become more relatable. And even when you have the floor rocking, if you're recalling some of the wedding party names of the bridesmaids or the groomsmen or the people that are there in the room tonight, I think it helps you become kind of in line and connected to the party. That's a compliment that I've received a number of times, especially recently, that parties are now happening again, that I'm calling out the members of the wedding tribe by first name when they're on the dance floor and I see them having a good time and they put their hands up and they feel special. I think that's really like what it's all about. Not overdoing it, but tastefully kind of recalling and becoming relatable and becoming kind of like part of that group is really like where this message is. Lose the descriptives and connect with the first names of the people whenever possible. That's the tip. Tip number 2. Tip number 3 is about breathing and timing and avoiding crutch phrases and things like any type of kind of pause that's awkward is not a good thing. Constantly saying makes you look unprofessional, and people are used to seeing other MCs or hosts on television speak properly. They watch videos on YouTube where people are speaking properly. So the more you do that, the less professional you can look. Avoid using crutch phrases like at this time and then making the announcement. Rather than using at this time or saying ladies and gentlemen and making that announcement, just make the announcement. I think less is more, getting right to the point is better, and holding the attention of the crowd without being too wordy is really where this is at. Tip number 4 is about understanding your role and knowing your room. Adapting to the framework of the event that you are presently attending is super important. The same approach that you would have for a 300 person plus wedding event is going to be very, very different if you have a 45 person holiday party. And although you still are going to be professional, the way you're going to address people in a black tie gala versus a blue jean kind of social is very, very different. Make sure that you keep your eyes open. Make sure that you adapt and adjust your framework, the way you are speaking, to properly represent the event and yourself, but to fit more in line with the framework for what's going on. I think another kind of sideline kind of key to this thing is to be aware of the people in the room. If you see that a table in the back is super hype and high energy when you're making announcements, acknowledge them in the back. It allows you to connect to that party, and it might inspire other people to get more energetic while you're doing whatever it is that you're doing or saying or get in that moment. I think acknowledging certain things, if you see someone with a really cool jacket and they're all out of control energy, acknowledge them. If you see someone kind of like whatever, take the ball that is given to you or the opportunities that are given to you when you're hosting and try to incorporate that however you can in a tasteful and professional manner. It'll allow you to adapt to the room. The purpose of this tip is so that you don't use the same approach every time you go out. You want to kind of keep the foundation the same, but you want to adjust so that you fall in line to what's appropriate to the event, the vision, to the vibe, to the atmosphere for where you're at that day specifically. Tip number 5 is about speaking on a microphone. If you are going to speak on a microphone and you are going to be playing music at the same time, try not to speak over heavily worded audio at the same time. And an extension of that is to make sure that you duck the audio, meaning like you pull the audio down when you're speaking on the microphone so that you're not speaking and competing with the song that's being played at that moment in time. I think it is super important, and I think that this is one of those things that people that have been doing this for a long time clearly understand, but I see a lot of people that are newer to the game making this mistake. When you speak on the microphone, make sure you pull the volume down. If you are going to be speaking at a point in a song that has wording or a melody or something that is super busy from an audio perspective, it is critical that you are not trying to compete with that vocal or that part of that song and have everything at the same volume. It will be harder for people to understand if things are playing super loud and you are getting on a microphone, because all they're going to hear is wah, 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 wah. It's going to sound like bad karaoke before it becomes impactful or effective for someone that is listening to what you're saying. So the point here is when you're speaking on a microphone, make sure that you try to avoid wording or heavily worded or melodic parts of a song, but also bring the volume down on the mixer and speak with authority so that your voice sits on top of the music and doesn't compete with what's going on. That's the key to this tip. The last tip is all about kind of owning the room and owning the presence. And it's something that I see a lot of people that are newer to the game kind of drop the ball on. And this tip is super important. So if you're someone that has to make an announcement, it is important that you have people's attention before you just start kind of commanding the room and giving direction on whatever is going to happen. I was attending a wedding not too long ago where the MC just came out and said, all right, welcome everyone to this wedding. We're here, blah, blah, blah. And please make some noise for the parents of our bride, whatever. And they came in the room and like people were still in the middle of the conversation. And that's what we want to avoid. One thing that I like to always do is I like to walk out in the middle of the room. I dim the lights. I put a spotlight on the dance floor so that there's a visual kind of component to this. And this is, of course, if I have lighting, and I'm speaking about a framework of kind of like a wedding celebration. And I'll say, good evening, everyone. Welcome to whatever the bride's name is, whatever the groom's name, wedding. are we ready to have a good time tonight? And if people are like, oh, like you get like a half of a hand clap kind of crowd, I'll say that wasn't very good. Let me try that again. And I'll say, good evening, everyone on this side of the room. Are you guys ready to have some fun tonight? And like get them a little bit hyped. Then I go to the other side of the room. Then I get everyone in. The point of me doing that is not to kind of get into like an interactive skit with the crowd, but it's to get people in the mode of listening to what I have going on and that something is about to happen. I don't want the couple or I don't want people to walk into the room in the framework of an introduction until I have everyone's attention and complete attention. So through music, through lighting, and through vocal kind of posting and direction, I try to hit all senses so that when I do speak, people are ready to listen. And in the beginning of a wedding, when people may be having drinks, they might not have seen people for a long time, they're in the zone, in the moment, whatever, you might have to get creative with this. So make sure that you own the room before you just start ripping into introductions or descriptives or providing direction for whatever moment is taking place. This is super important, and it's something that I see a lot of people miss the mark on. Owning the room, commanding the room is really the key of this point. Before you provide direction, make sure you have people's attention, because there's nothing worse than having someone come into the room and having that whole side of the family not even paying attention to them and no one kind of clapping or no one acknowledging what's going on. It falls flat, so to speak, and that's what we try to avoid. Anyway, my name is Jason Jani. I hope you enjoyed these tips, and I'd love to hear from you. So comment away, post any tips that you have or you'd like to share with me in terms of things that you do to host or MC events better. And I appreciate you checking out this video right here on the DJNN virtual learning kind of sessions. Shout out to John Young and the entire DJNN tribe of people. There's so many good people connected to the universe over here, and it's just an honor to be part of this. Anyway, thanks for checking this out. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Leave a comment down below, and if you're not yet connected with me on my YouTube, I'd love to invite you to kind of join me over there. Just search for Jason Jani right here on YouTube. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you real soon.